You know the feeling, right? You pour weeks, maybe even months into a really detailed argument. You've done all the research, you've checked your sources, and you've laid out your case with absolute precision. And then you get a two-word reply: I disagree. So in this world of quick, hot takes, how do we get past that simple dismissal and actually have a real conversation? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into. And man, this quote just nails it, doesn't it? We see this stuff everywhere, all over the internet. But it's especially, jarring when you see it in really complex fields like theology, where someone's deep, systematic thinking just gets brushed aside with a comment that totally ignores all the work that went into it. And let's be honest, this is the easy way out. It's so simple to just state you're on the other side without ever having to, engage with the actual argument. It's like slamming a door right when a conversation should be starting. It just dismisses all that effort with one simple, totally unsubstantiated claim. So yeah, let's just call this what it is. We'll call it the I disagree problem. And it's all about that huge, profound imbalance between the effort it takes to create something thoughtful and how easy it is to just tear it down. Okay, look at this. The contrast here is just wow. On one side, you have the entire architecture of a serious theological argument. We're talking systematic reasoning, biblical references, well-grounded typology, which is basically the study of symbolic representation, and really careful exegetical work, the critical interpretation of the text. And then on the other side, a response that engages with, well, none of it. So you might be asking, why does this even matter? It's not just about being polite or having good intellectual etiquette. No, this goes way deeper. It's about really understanding where true authority lies in these kinds of discussions. Because at its core, theology isn't just some swap meet for personal opinions. It's a real discipline. It's a systematic study that demands you do your homework, that you're prepared, and that you're responsible. It's what elevates the entire conversation beyond just, what we feel might be true. And this is absolutely the crucial point. Our personal feelings, our traditions, or even what we've always been taught, they don't get the final say. For a theological argument to actually have any weight, it has to be grounded in the text it's trying to interpret. It has to be grounded in Scripture. This quote from Matthew really gets to the heart of it all. Think about it. Jesus' rebuke to the Sadducees wasn't just because they had a different opinion. He called them out because they didn't know the source material. He pointed them right back to the foundation, which was the Scriptures. Okay, so this brings us to the real solution here. If the big problem is just disagreeing without any substance, then the answer has to be a call to a much higher standard. And here it is. This is the big turning point. We absolutely, 100%, have the right to think for ourselves and to disagree. But, and this is a huge but, that freedom doesn't come free of responsibility. It comes with a really profound duty. The duty to actually make your case, to build a real argument. I love this analogy because it makes the whole idea so tangible, so real. Think about it. Would you ever dismiss a doctor's detailed diagnosis, one that's based on lab work and scans and all that, with a simple, I don't agree? No way. You'd want to see the data, you'd get a second opinion that came with its own evidence. So why on earth should theology be treated with any less seriousness? Okay, so if we've got this duty to argue, how do we actually do it? Let's break down a really practical framework for disagreeing in a way that's both responsible and, actually constructive. It comes down to 3 simple but super powerful steps. First, you have to actually read and understand the argument you're about to oppose. Go in with an open mind, not with your mind already made up. Second, ground your response in the primary source, Scripture, not just in, well, this is what I've always heard. And third, you've got to argue with theological logic. Engage with the argument itself, find the flaws, point out any contradictions, and then build a better case. So let's see how this plays out in a real theological debate. Let's say someone builds a case for a pre-tribulation rapture, and they use specific texts and typologies to do it. A responsible rebuttal doesn't just fire back with, nope, I'm post-trib. You have to do the work. You have to offer alternative readings of those very same texts. You have to present your own biblical evidence. You have to dismantle the original argument's logic piece by piece. That's real engagement. And this whole framework for disagreeing responsibly, it isn't just a set of rules to follow. It's actually rooted in a fundamental virtue, one that's absolutely essential for any kind of meaningful learning or debate. And that virtue starts with this question: maybe the most important and honestly the hardest question we can ever ask ourselves. Could I be wrong? See, intellectual humility isn't a weakness at all. It's the strength to admit that your own understanding isn't perfect, that there's always more to learn. It's the only real gateway to actual growth. So really, we're faced with two paths here. On one side, you've got intellectual humility. That keeps us open, it keeps us searching, and it allows our beliefs to be sharpened and refined by rigorous debate. But the other path, that's doctrinal apathy. It's that comfortable refusal to engage, and it turns a vibrant, living faith into just a set of memorized lines we repeat without really thinking. And hey, this isn't some new idea we just came up with. When Martin Luther disagreed with the prevailing doctrine of his day, did he just fire off a quick, unsupported tweet? No. He nailed 95 carefully argued theses to a church door, each one backed by deep biblical exegesis. He did the work. That should be our model, not the lazy, easy dismissal. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. When we run into ideas that challenge us, what's our first instinct? Is it to dismiss them out of hand, or is it to really engage? Because the choice we make right there, in that moment, determines whether our beliefs are built on the solid rock of careful reflection or on the shifting sands of just repeating what we've always heard.